Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom, where we dissect the quirks and questions swirling around our daily lives to uncover better ways to stay healthy. I'm Ethan Foster, your ever-curious observer of human habits and occasional collector of coffee mugs, because one is never enough when you can misplace them all over the house.
And I'm Alara Sky, the chief investigator of all things weird and wonderful in health. If it's bizarre, overlooked, or quietly zapping your energy, I'm on the case. Let's dive in.
Today's topic revolves around those tiny habits that sneak up on us and drain our energy day after day. We're exploring how seemingly harmless behaviors, like slouching at your desk or letting a stray post-it note colony take over your workspace, can leave you feeling more exhausted than a marathon runner before you've even made it to lunchtime. So let's start with physical habits that drag us down. Picture yourself slouched like a wilted plant. Cozy? Maybe. Healthy? Probably not.
It's easy to ignore posture, right? We're working or scrolling or half-checking social media. Suddenly, we're folded up like a pretzel in a chair that's lost any sense of dignity. Our muscles are in silent rebellion. Meanwhile, our lungs are cramped, so we're barely getting enough air.
I know I'm slouching if my ribs have become best friends with my hips. That's usually my cue to straighten up. It helps to have a good chair, or in some cases, to remember that chairs even exist. I've caught myself perched on the edge like a flamingo.
A dignified flamingo, I hope. Even though we all slouch sometimes, that posture can totally sabotage our energy. It's like carrying a heavy bag incorrectly all day. By the end, you wonder why you feel like you've gone 12 rounds in a boxing ring.
Another biggie is shallow breathing, which might be the unspoken champion of fatigue. You're stressed, you hold your breath, or you're half gasping, and next thing you know, your brain's running on fumes.
Right. It's the difference between breathing vertically, where your shoulders hitch up and down like you're preparing for a suspense scene, and what some call horizontal breathing, where you expand your ribcage sideways. Imagine your torso as an accordion, gently opening. That lowers stress and keeps your oxygen flowing, so no one's passing out over a simple email.
That's good news for me, because my inbox is basically a haunted house. Every time I open it, I'm half convinced something monstrous is lurking. If I can face those emails with better breathing, maybe I won't need to install a panic button.
Exactly. And if you notice you've barely inhaled all morning, maybe just set a phone reminder. Breathe, you human you. Often it's the smallest tweak that helps us feel more energized.
Moving into the realm of the mental energy drain, let's discuss our workspaces. The messy desk fiasco. I'm not pointing fingers, but I do see your sticky note empire from here.
I maintain it's organized chaos. Although organized is being extremely generous. I do realize that a cluttered desk can make every single task feel heavier. Your brain is working overtime to filter out all that visual noise.
It's like trying to cook in a kitchen full of unwashed dishes. Before you can start on that fancy recipe, you have to navigate the leftovers from last night. Not very appetizing.
Precisely. And it extends to our digital lives, too. Raise your hand if you've ever had too many browser tabs open. I'd raise mine, but I'm busy rummaging through the 28 tabs I left open to read later. Each tab is a siren, calling out for attention, draining your focus.
Once I had so many tabs open that my computer fan sounded like it was practicing for a wind tunnel experiment. Not the hallmark of calm. Sometimes a good practice is to ask yourself every hour, do I really need these 35 open tabs about cast iron skillet cleaning methods?
I'm definitely guilty of that. My laptop overheats in sympathy. And let's not forget the constant phone interruptions, calls, notifications, everything blinking at you like a carnival.
It's tough to keep your train of thought from derailing every time you get a spam call offering you a free cruise. Though a free cruise might help my posture, ironically, I can lounge on a deck chair for an actual reason.
Maybe so, but that phone call fatigue is real. Every time you break focus, your brain needs extra fuel to switch tasks. And that switching cost accumulates until you're ready to curl up under your desk. Turning off unnecessary notifications or scheduling call times can really help.
Speaking of schedules, how about those tasks we never seem to finish? Some call it attention residue, which is a fancy way of saying that undone job is haunting me, like a bad song stuck on repeat.
I once started reorganizing my closet at 11 p.m., got halfway, and woke up the next morning to a floor covered in mismatched socks and questionable fashion decisions. My brain had definitely clocked overtime just from remembering how undone it was.
That's exactly it. Unfinished tasks sit in the background, quietly humming. Don't forget me. I still exist. Then you move on to something else, but part of you is tethered to the undone chore. It's mental weight.
It's like leaving a video paused in a crucial moment. In day-to-day life, it's best to finish what you can, or make a clear note so your brain can let it go until later.
Then there's the problem of over-planning your entire life. Ever try scheduling every minute of your day, only to realize that real life doesn't care about your spreadsheets?
Exactly. Overplanning is like stuffing your suitcase so full that you sit on it to zip it shut. It might work, but the second you arrive at your destination, you're exhausted. You haven't even gone on your trip yet, but you're already done.
And we haven't even mentioned the avalanche of tiny tasks, changing a light bulb, replying to that one text from your cousin who wants your best pancake recipe, or that random check engine light on your dashboard. You think, I'll do it later, until later starts to look suspiciously like never.
Those small tasks can combine forces like dust bunnies under the bed. One bunny is easy to ignore, but an entire colony can chase you out of your own house. The trick is to tackle them promptly if they're quick, or schedule them for a specific time so they don't hang around in your brain like a nagging to-do choir.
Now let's dip into lifestyle habits that quietly sabotage our energy. For instance, binge-watching intense TV shows late at night. Nothing like finishing that cliffhanger at midnight, your heart racing because you just witnessed a massive plot twist, and you're supposed to calmly drift off to sleep.
Been there, done that. 1 minute, it's 9 p.m., you press play. Next thing, it's the wee hours, and you've run an emotional marathon. Sure, it was entertaining, but your brain is hyped. No wonder we feel drained the next day. Sometimes picking a lighter show or pressing pause earlier is the wise move.
Another silent culprit, bright lights before bed, especially the bluish lights from screens. Our brain sees that glow and decides, oh, it must be daytime somewhere, so let's stay awake.
Exactly. Our circadian rhythm is like a polite neighbor who expects quiet after a certain hour. When we keep shining a bright flashlight into its eyes, it's going to get cranky. Swapping to warmer lights or using blue light filters is a good compromise, unless you're a night owl who thrives in that glare, but most of us just end up groggy.
Another interesting point is how we sometimes adopt advice that just doesn't suit us. We read about a health hack or a scheduling strategy. We try it, but it's a terrible fit. And yet we keep at it because we think we should.
It's like wearing shoes that are half a size too small. Sure, they might be trendy, but now your feet ache and you're exhausted. Not every piece of advice suits every person. We have to adapt, tweak, or sometimes flat out ignore the tip if it doesn't resonate.
Now, let's talk about that modern plague, sensory overload. Our senses do a great job, but they can only take so much. If we force ourselves to endure loud environments, constant visual clutter, or intense stimuli without breaks, it's a recipe for frazzled nerves.
It's like the world is screaming at you from all sides. Neon signs, blasting horns, bright screens, caffeine jitters, phone pings. Eventually, you snap because the system is overloaded. The fix is to acknowledge your limit. Step outside for some fresh air, find a quiet corner, or even close your eyes for a moment.
I'm notoriously bad at ignoring my body's signals. I'll think, one more email before I break, or I can handle this crowd for a bit longer. And suddenly, I'm ready to short circuit. Taking planned breaks might sound like something only kids in kindergarten do, but maybe they were onto something.
Totally. The kindergarten life had it right. Snack, nap, recess, repeat. You manage stress before it spins out of control. If your body says, I need a minute, you step away, even if it's just a quick breather.
And what about ignoring your physical needs, for example, skipping meals or chugging endless coffee instead of actual nutrition? Then wondering why you're shaky and exhausted.
Or not sleeping enough on a regular basis and expecting to function on that brain fog. Your body's a finely tuned instrument, but if you never give it fresh strings and a good rest, it'll be out of tune. Next thing you know, you're overwhelmed by normal background noise.
It all circles back to the idea that constant unintentional stressors like clutter, endless tasks, bright screens at midnight, and ignoring your body's signals stack up until you feel thoroughly wiped out. The good news is, a few simple adjustments can do wonders.
That's the best part. You don't have to do a massive lifestyle overhaul or transform into a minimalist guru. Just pick 1 or 2 habits that stand out. Try improving your posture, or clearing your workspace, or breathing consciously for a few minutes each hour. See how it feels.
I like that approach because it's realistic. If you try fixing everything at once, you might end up more stressed. So, a steady incremental change is more sustainable.
Notice when you feel especially tense or drained. That's probably your biggest clue on what to adjust first.
Maybe it's your desk that's a crime scene of office supplies. Or maybe it's a matter of turning off those bright overhead lights after 9 p.m. Baby steps can have a big impact over time.
And don't forget to be kind to yourself. Sometimes we try to muscle through, ignoring the fact that basic improvements, like a quick stretch or finishing that one nagging chore, could free up a surprising amount of mental space.
Now that we've covered the main culprits and how they creep into our day, how about a mini recap? We have posture, don't slouch or forget to breathe. We have workspace chaos, tame your clutter, close extra browser tabs, and schedule calls. We have task management, finish what you start, don't plan your life into oblivion, and tackle small tasks quickly.
Right. Then we have lifestyle factors like toning down bright lights at night, picking lighter entertainment when we're winding down, and ignoring generic advice that clearly isn't for us. Plus, we have the concept of sensory overload. Recognize it, plan breaks, and listen to your body's signals.
Put it all together, and you get an energy-saving blueprint that feels a lot less overwhelming than you'd think. It's so easy to overlook these minor bad habits because they're practically invisible until you realize you're exhausted.
Exactly. And once you recognize them, you can reclaim your spark. The key is noticing, oh wow, I've had 47 tabs open. My phone is pinging like a slot machine, and I haven't taken a real breath since breakfast. It's a universal scenario, but we can choose to flip that script.
Before we wrap up, let's address a few quick questions that pop up often. People wonder, what's the best way to stop feeling tired all the time? Our answer is, look at your habits. Are you sitting hunched over? Is your desk a war zone? Are you half breathing?
Even one small change, like tidying for 5 minutes or dimming lights when the sun goes down, can yield immediate benefits. Consistency matters more than perfection. Another question. Why does a messy desk make me tired? Because you're subconsciously dealing with the clutter. It's an exhausting mental load.
Right. Or, why do I feel so drained after binge watching Netflix? Because those intense emotional plots are an adrenaline roller coaster. Your brain is on high alert for hours. That's why some people prefer comedies before bed.
And a common one, can bright lights at night really sabotage my energy? Yes. Our bodies evolved to be in sync with natural light. Artificial brightness confuses that cycle, so we stay up later and sleep worse. If you're feeling like you're in a perpetual energy rut, consider investigating these sneaky habits. It might be easier than you think to reclaim those precious energy reserves.
Thank you for tuning in to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. We hope we've helped you identify at least one invisible culprit in your daily routine. Remember, transformation often starts with a single aha moment, like realizing you've been perched on one butt cheek for 3 hours, or that your 28 open tabs are trying to send you an eviction notice.
And who knows, maybe tomorrow you'll stand a bit straighter, breathe a bit deeper, and happily conquer the world, or at least your email inbox. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe now and click the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.